Hello, welcome back to stream number 30. We've done, amazingly, this is the 30th stream that we've done here with our programming live on Twitch for the NES, which is pretty cool. Seems like people are enjoying the series and maybe getting something useful out of watching me do this. As I mentioned last week, I am putting together a video. I was hoping to post it this weekend, but making videos is a much more time-consuming process than just posting your recordings from Twitch. Which I knew, but I was hoping that it wouldn't take quite so long for such a short video. But anyway, so I'm putting together the first video now, and I've got some of the voiceover stuff done, and hopefully that'll be posted sometime at the end of this week. So look for that. And let's get into this. Let's figure out what's going on with the map loading. I'm probably going to keep this short. I just want to get that map stuff fixed today. And then wrap it up for the evening, because my allergies are really bothering me, and I'm just feeling kind of gross. So if you recall from last stream, and I'll open the name table for us to look at it. When we press the start button and start the game, you can see our map is loading partially correctly, but then we run into this problem here where it appears that we are maybe corrupting some of the data or incorrectly doing a calculation that is changing the name table. I can't tell what exactly is happening, so that was why I didn't want to do this last week, because it's probable that we're going to spend an hour, unless I, by some stroke of luck, it's probable that we'll spend all 2 hours on this, but who knows. I mean, the thing is that I'm not sure what the actual issue is right now. I'm changing that, and it's not doing anything because the emulator's not running. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, that's why I didn't want to do this last week on Thursday, because we'd already spent a couple hours putting the map data into a form that the game could load. One thing I realized when we were doing this is that this was kind of a silly way to do it, because thinking about it, I was like, well, for the first screen, we can actually just dump the entire content of the screen in one write operation, because we're starting at the top left and then going across the entire screen, versus this, where we're actually traversing the screen backwards. We're reversing the order of the screen in some sense. We're not doing a full reversal, because then the screen itself would load backwards, and we'd have everything flipped. But it is, in terms of the row order, it is loading backwards. So we'll leave that as is for now, but for this, what we want to do is we want to say, basically, I want to just remove this loop, and we want to do it times width times, and then it's just basically going to be start map height. Well, it just should be 7, right? Because we're doing 7 rows. Oh. That would just be start height. So if we run that and generate the file again, we should be able to then... One thing I also noticed is that this was showing up behind my camera window there, and so couldn't see the button I was pressing. Not that that's super important, but here's the map. And we're going to create the map file. So that's exported out now. That's the wrong folder. So projects, NES asset tool. There's the new level 1 bin file. We'll replace that. And I still didn't do the change to make Visual Studio Code build the ROM yet, but that's okay. We can just do it in Sublime Text for now. Okay, so that all looked good still. Let me reset the game just to yeah, that looked fine. All right, so now we got to figure out what's going on here, because it looks like once we get to the point where we are loading this part of the map, we're hitting a problem. So you can see that it's partially loaded correctly. Actually, wait a minute. Is that right? Yeah, okay, that's right. So, just want to speed that up a little bit. All right, so we get to this point here, and so let's see. I want to take a look at the name table and see what tiles are loaded in this spot. It looks like we're still loading in. So it looks like we're off by. We're partially off here. 59, is that the top? What is that? PPU viewer. So 59 is going to be this guy. So it's loading this one tile. '59 and 5A. 59 and 5A. So these two tiles are getting loaded here, which means that we're, yeah, you know what? So it's actually off. This is just off by 2. That could be the problem, is that we're somehow off by 2 when we are looking at the meta tile data. But that's strange, because that shouldn't matter, right? Like, the meta tile lookup should not be, unless we're incorrectly computing the meta tile offset under some condition. So let's see. Grab the internal row for the meta tile and multiply that by 4 and add that to our offset to get the row that we need. Get the screen memory positioned for the right location in the name table. Load the meta tile value from the map data and then multiply by 16 to offset for the number of tiles per meta tile. Is it that temp is wrong? I wonder if well, temp should be okay. Grab the internal row for the meta tile, which is m tile y, and then multiply that by 4, right? Because if m tile y, oh, wait a minute. Oh no, that's, let me think about this. Store m tile y. Okay, so m tile y is always starting at 3 and then decrementing. So the first time through, it's going to be row 3 times. Okay, so that's okay. And that only happens when we've counted up 8. Right. So the reason we're counting 8 is because we're going up 8 pixels to the next tile in the meta tile. So then we decrement. Yeah. And then once we hit 0, or, well, once we've hit FF, actually, we go to the meta tile row. Otherwise, we're loading the new row. Load A8. That shouldn't matter. Load A8, clear carry, add tile Y. Why are we adding 8? Is that the next? Because it's the next row. Okay, so we're going to the next row of meta tiles. So just to kind of review, because it's been a couple of streams since we've done this. So the way that the screen is organized, we have our meta tiles, right? And then within that, obviously, we have our regular tiles. And we're counting every 8 pixels we increment. We're then saying, okay, we need to get to the next row in the meta tile. And in order to do that, we take whatever row we're currently on, we're starting on, in the meta tile list, and we add 8 to it to get to the next row. And then we also have the mtile Y counter, which it traverses the internal regular tiles, so we have to go across 4 of those first before we can increment the main meta tile row. Load A3, store it in there. Load A8, clear carry. I wonder if, I mean, that shouldn't have mattered, I don't think. I just changed the order of how we're loading 8 into the into A before we increment tile Y. Let me check before I spend a lot of time going through this, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, that didn't have any impact. All right, so let me pause that again. Now, let me see something. mtile Y shouldn't have overflowed. It should be relatively small. mtile Y. How many bytes? Actually, I'm looking. I want tile Y, not mtile Y, because mtile Y will always only ever go from 0 to have a value of ff001 ff 00, 01, 02, or 03. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it should be the 12th byte. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. That would be 15, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. So it is, Is it getting messed up when it hits F? No. But that's curious. We are going to hit a problem, though. Right? And then it restarts because we got to 0 again. So let's see. What does that counter get to? So it was about, I wonder, wonder if it'd be better to make it increment by 1 and multiply by 8, which is just a simple shift. The only reason is then we don't have to worry about the overflow of that value. We would, well, when we do the multiply, I mean, it seems like it could be a combination of things. It seems like it could be a combination of the tile Y be overflowing into so it seems like it could be the tile Y overflowing and then the maps potentially, although I thought I fixed that with this. So let's do this. So we're going to add with carry, and then we need to check the carry flag. So branch carry set done tile Y branch carry clear. So if carry is set, we're going to make tile Y be a multi-byte. And we're going to increment that. And then we're going to store it. So let's just check to make sure that's working. I want to make sure that tile Y, or sorry, tile, I keep confusing the two because the names are so similar, but I want to make sure that tile Y has the 16-bit math working properly here. Nope. Let me check something here. I'm making a dumb assumption potentially. F0 0. Come on. 0 plus 8. Yeah, no, that was right. Okay. Okay, so clear carry, add carry, tile Y, branch if carry is clear to done tile Y. Otherwise, increment tile Y plus 1. Did I mess that up? Did it increment but the wrong thing? Did it increment that? Wasn't paying attention to the next byte over. It's possible that that would actually make sense that I messed that up. So the question then becomes, well, no, but that would be okay because that would be the 2 bytes. Oh, it is working. Okay, I thought I had messed it up. All right, cool. So then the next part is, now that we have that working with 16-bit values, what we need to do is add that high byte of tile Y to maps high, and then store that in row mem plus 1, and then load maps low, clear carry, add carry 1, and then, yeah, okay. So let's see if that is a total disaster. Bring back up the memory and the name table, and so let's see, 16, 15, 14, 13, 11, 12. I can count, I promise. Okay, so that actually is way better because now we're getting the level actually loading the way that it's supposed to. There just seems to be a bug that at some point it incorrectly shifts the meta tile offset by 2 bytes, and then that causes it not to load the meta tiles properly. But you can see it here where everything kind of gets messed up looking, but then it goes correctly, and then we're at the end of the level, and now we're into, I don't know what that is, honestly. Now we're just into random data. Okay, well, so that's not bad. That's much better than we were before, because now we're at least loading the level data properly. So if you look at the map, once you get to this gradient diagonal, it's just empty until we get to the top of the level. So what we can even do is, just to make sure that we're seeing what we're supposed to, let's start putting in some extra blocks. 3, 4, 4, 5. I'm just spacing them all like slightly bigger here. So let's save that and export it. And export that as JSON. Oh, damn it. I wish it wouldn't do that. It's so aggravating. And then it adds a double period and okay. Yes, replace it. All right. Visual Studio. So let's load this version and export. No, just create the map file and get that new binary file over here. Hello. Windows does not want to copy and paste. Let's try right-clicking and copying and pasting. Replace. And then let's build that and reload the emulator. And then we can make sure that we're definitely seeing the map correctly and that it's just the meta tile offset that's getting corrupted. So now what we should see is that we'll, after this diagonal, get these offset, or sorry, after this diagonal we should see offset blocks, and we do 2 spaces, 3 spaces, 4 spaces. Now we're going to get 5 spaces, and then we're going to have nothing on the side. So it's really close. We're really close to getting this working right. Just got to figure out why we're getting this problem where we're offset when we try and look into the meta tile in data. Why would that be off by 2? But that's pretty exciting that we got that in a relatively short period of time, only half an hour. Okay. What is the deal? So when we go to look up load the meta tile value for the map. Okay. Okay, and then we're storing it. So meta tiles. Oh, I wonder if the problem is, well, that shouldn't matter. Oh, maybe it does. Maybe the problem is, let's see. So we're setting row. Yeah, so we're setting row mem +1 here. We're setting. Are we setting? Yeah, we are storing row mem here. We're incrementing row mem +1. And then we're using it here to actually index into the tile. Now, what is the value of y? Y is 0. So what would cause this to be offset incorrectly? Increase x, increase x, increase x. And then compare y to 8. To 8. If it's not equal, go to next meta tile. Oh, because it's doing, right, because it's doing, if we go back to the diagram, it's doing 8 meta tiles across. So we're taking the meta tile value for that, for each column, where y is the column position, somewhat confusingly, I guess. Just so happens to be that way. Y is the column position, and x is the offset into the meta tile that we are into the meta tile table. Is meta tiles getting, I wonder if x is getting modified at times, and then I mean, the only reason that this would be wrong is that we took the value of this and we did our multiply by 16, and then we, let's see, so, oh, you know what? Maybe it's the value of temp that's the problem. If that were off, then we would have that problem too. So let's take a look and see when we hit that problem. So tile 0, let me go back to this for a second. Metatiles dot bin is the raw metatile data, and that's the character data, and we are in the asset tool generating the empty metatile, I believe. Right? Yeah, so we're writing out an empty metatile, and then we're writing out the other metatiles. But what's strange is that doesn't seem to be what I'm seeing here. Unless... Empty meta tiles. Oh no, okay, yeah, because it's right. Because the meta tile data is composed of the subtiles, and then we have the actual. All right, so that is correct. So 59. So if we were looking at the data, this would occur if we were offset by 2 bytes when we were looking into the meta tile data for all the tiles at that point. And the reason that would be offset by 2 is what we're trying to figure out. So is there some obvious event that we can see in the memory maybe that'll help us identify when that's occurring? So what I'm trying to look for is, like, is it when we do a carry, or like what is actually triggering this to occur? Okay, so it was around the time we got to 10. Let's restart this and take a look at it again. Let me slow down the emulation here. What's cool is you can see this is our counter for the memory that tells us when we're going to go to the next. We need to load the next row in. This is our tile Y, which is telling us what to offset into. Oops. Oh no. I hit the sleep button accidentally on my keyboard. And now FCEUX is not showing. Let's see here. Hope that didn't mess up the recording. All right, let's reload that. Disable that key. Alright, so I want to try and stop it. Okay, so it's literally when we get to right around this point where we have, so it's one row before that, oddly. So let's slow that down. So at 90 is when I'm looking at this counter here. So far that looks okay. So far that's still looking okay. So when we get to the next row that we're going to load, that's still looking okay. Okay, so it's in the transition between 9.8 and A0 that we're hitting the problem. So this changed, both this and this byte. What were they before? Can I rewind? That would be super helpful. I don't know if I can. Anybody know? Slow it down. Thought there was a way to do rewind in this. Let's see. Enable. Display. Frame counter. Doesn't look like it. Alright. So, well, we know the point where we're hitting the problem, so let's try it again in slow emulation. And let's watch this memory here. So this looks like it's some sort of lookup. What is this? This is O2OA. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. What are these bytes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it's ROMEM. And ROMEM is what we're using to look into the metatile data. So that makes sense that that changed. Now, what was interesting is that I thought I saw that it wrote the same value in the low byte as it okay, I think I understand. So that 2 there might be the problem. So let's see. So at the point that we had that go to 2, I think we hit a carry condition, and that is what the problem is. Let's see that again. 9. Oh, we're decrementing. Okay. Oh, and it should become 1, shouldn't it? Wait, no. Am I looking at the wrong byte? I might be looking at the wrong byte. Oh, did it go from E7 to E8? It did. Except that we are C2, CA, D2, DA, E2, Let me make sure I've got that right. I think I'm adding instead of subtracting. I just want to watch that again. Sorry, I know it's not super exciting to watch these numbers change here in the hex editor, but I can assure you that it's important because that's what's gonna. So that's what's gonna help us figure out what's going on. Oh, so okay, no, this is incrementing. Is it because let's see. E2 and EA and then C2. Wait, C2 CA D2. F2. FA. And then, damn it, I did it again. And then hold on a second. Gotta turn that key off. If I can figure out how. No. Okay, don't press that key anymore. I gotta figure out how to turn it off because I don't want to use it. I never use it. And this is the first time I've hit it while live streaming. Hopefully that didn't mess up the recording or anything. Okay. So 0, 1, 2, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. It is ROMEM. So what is going on when it gets set up here? What is it initialized to when we start? Is it initialized to anything? Load map. Load. What did we call this? Load tiles. Load level. So screen mem is initialized, but row mem is not. So coming into this for the first time, what is row mem getting set to? I don't know what I initialized it to, if anything. So the first time around, it's not set to anything, and then it's getting initialized. So, okay, I mean, and that's not a big deal because we're not loading anything, right? We're using tile Y and mtile Y and maps high to load it. But you know what? It may matter. Load A maps low, clear carry. Add carry 1 because we're offsetting by the map row count, and then we're adding tile Y to it. And then we're incrementing row mem plus 1 if we carried, right? So, and then we're storing it into row mem. So we're trying to look up the location of the row mem in order to ensure that we can copy the meta tile that we're looking for there. So the fact that it's off by 2, kind of implies that the part where we're looking up the map location is okay. Or the tile, or sorry, the offset. Okay, no, that's... Oh, right, okay. So it's for the meta tile number lookup. So maybe this isn't a big deal. This is okay. It's... I guess so, because then we'd have totally the wrong meta tile. So that doesn't seem to be the problem. The problem seems to be once we have the meta tile that we're looking for, when we do our lookup, we're off by 2, and that would be because temp is wrong, and temp would be wrong because mtile_y was wrong, and mtile_y would be wrong if it were off by 2. So how would it be off by 2? Let's take a look. Where is mtile_y in relation to this memory? So once again, I'm just going to move it to make it easier to see it in the debugger. I'll make sure that we've got the latest one loaded here and unpause it, slow that down. So it's the first byte, so let's take a look at that. That should just be 3210, 3210, 32. Yeah, that's all. Nothing special about that. So are we going to see some weird situation where it isn't one of those numbers? And then we get it messed up? No. So mtile_y. Oh man, come on. Okay. So here we're loading mtile_y. We're multiplying by 4 to offset into the meta tile correctly. And we're storing that into temp. And then later on here, we're taking the row mem and the y offset. I wonder if it's just because I'm setting y so far back here, something is modifying the y register. I mean, that's certainly possible. That would be weird, though, that it would be so regularly doing that. Whoa. That is amazing. I'm not even sure how I did that. But I wonder if that confirms what I was saying, in that something is modifying y and then not putting it back. So let's see, is it the interrupt? No. Right, because that's just using A. That is freaky. So transfer X data push, transfer Y to A push, transfer Y, X, and then A. Interesting. So moving that 0, are we doing any? I mean, we're not doing anything to Y that should be causing this. Oh, unless it's relying on... No. I was going to say that we're, in some cases, not modifying Y, but that shouldn't matter. Do we care? Y isn't used anywhere but here. So Y, no pun intended, Y is Y, messing things up here. I mean, that looks cool. Yeah, feature, exactly. I meant for it to do that. It's funny because it makes it look like an Atari game. Wow. I'm not even sure what it's actually doing when that happens. I mean, I can see the... I can see that the scrolling gets messed up, but it's odd. Oh, okay. All right. So that has to be outside the loop. That's why it's a problem. Okay, I forgot. I'm using Y for a loop, the loop here. I am doing... I do need Y to actually increment here. Right. Okay. But let's see. So we're still seeing the same problem, which is fine because I didn't expect moving Y to fix it, but I also didn't expect it to break it the way that it did. All right, so ROMEM Y, load the metatile value. I mean, so it literally would be this X value, and this X value is controlled by this. So let's do this. Where is... I think I got rid of it. Store A into was it 7FA? I think I had the breakpoint on previously. Excuse me. 7FC. Well, 7FA will work. That's fine. Edit 7FA. Right. Okay. That. And unpause. Yeah, that's fine. Keep going. All right. So we're just going to keep running it until we get to the point where we know it's going to mess up. So let's take a look at the debugger. Oh wait, we're looking at the hex editor, I meant. So when we see that we're at 9.8, and where one of these bytes this one? No. One of these. This one. This one is increasing, but that's not the one that's the problem. Is it this one? I don't remember which. Yeah, that one. Right, because every 4 rows it's going to increment to the next one, which is what we're seeing here. A lot of clicking to advance to the point that I want here. Could even, you know what we can do? We can add right breakpoint, and we want to check the value. Edit. Condition. I don't remember how you do it. You just give it the value that you want. Help me out here, help. Maybe. I want to take a look at the conditional debugging. No? All right. Let me just bring up the browser. FCEX conditional debug break. Right. So let's see. Break only if the value at the indirect address is not equal to. Accessing data from bank 2. Check all of this stuff. So what do I have to do? Just say 0C equals 9.8. Okay. And then we can turn this one off. Okay. So that stored that. Let's take a look at the name table. So we still haven't gotten to the point where it's a problem. So if we step over, we can now run to, well, we should be pretty close to it. Actually doing that store A, 7 of A, that's here. So, and we're right here, so load A, E7. And then we're going to store it back. Load 61. Clear carry, add 1. Clear carry, add A0, which is 10. Oh, well, it's 10 on that. What is that, 160? Is that right? Does my brain actually do the hex calculation properly? Yeah, all right. 160. So it's adding 160 to 62, which I imagine it does carry. So we're going to step over. We get 2. And then we're going to branch if carry is clear, which it's not. So we're going to increment E7 to E8. And then we're going to store the value in A into that E802. What is that? E802. Okay, so that's a tile a meta tile value. That's fine. So now we have our meta tile value, which is, why is it 3? Load A 0. Oh, okay, that's M tile Y. So we'll multiply about 4, and then we're going to store that into temp. So our offset is E, which is, what is that? That's 14, 15, 16. That's, let's see, so the E, that's strange. Why would it be E? Why would that have been M tile Y? Oh, crap. I think I know what the problem is. Right, because 3 times 4 is 12, which is... come on. 3 times 4 is 12, which is C, but it picked up an extra bit. And the reason it picked up the extra bit is because of this rotate left. And the reason it picked that up is because we didn't clear the carry, which means that that was rotated on to the least significant bit, which is why it's getting messed up, I bet. That, I believe, is the problem. And I'll explain that in a second. I want to verify that that actually fixed it before I do my little victory dance. I won't dance, I promise. That was it. That was it. Awesome. So now we're loading. So now we're loading the whole map properly. Now we're in business. Now we're getting somewhere. So now what we need to do, obviously, is we need to be able to have wall detection. We need to start looking at how we're going to load enemies. I need to do some, get some actual artwork here that we can use for this game, because this is all just placeholder stuff, so we can get these basic bits functioning. And what we should see is that eventually we will get to the end, which is just a row of those gradient tiles at some point here. And then we're going to hit junk. Okay. Cool. All right. So that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be to figure out. So what was happening? Let's talk about that real quick. So what was happening was I was getting my value. I was saying, okay, I need M tile Y. That's my row into the meta tile, right? So it's either going to be here or here or here or here in memory terms, right? It's either going to be referencing it's going to be referencing one of these start positions in the meta tile. Additionally, within the context of the whole map, we have another offset that says, am I at this meta tile? Am I at this meta tile? Am I at this meta tile? Which meta tile am I looking at here, right? And the problem is, when I was doing that multiplication, I was saying, okay, let's say I have 3, which in binary is, let's just do a nibble here, right? So this is 3, because this is 1 and 2. I was saying, okay, to get the proper offset into this meta tile here, I got to multiply by 4, right? Because each row is 4 tiles. So the way you do that is you shift the bits, right? So you say 1 shift, and now 3 becomes 6, right? Because this is 1, 2, 4. Let me go back for a second. So this was bits 1, 2, 4, 8, right? So this is 1 plus 2 is 3. I add another 0 here. When I do the shift, it becomes 1, 2, 4, 8, and then this would be 16, but we don't care about it right now. So now we have 2 and 4. That becomes 16. 6, I mean, sorry, by doing that 1 shift. And then we do another shift. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Now it's 8 plus 4, which is 12. Well, I was not checking the carry flag, which in some cases would be 1. And when you do a rotate left, what it's doing is it's taking the bit from here, putting it into the carry flag, right? So that would become 0. And the 1 that was in the carry flag goes here. So now we end up with, what is this? 1, 2, 4, so 7, right? And then you do it again, and this is already set to 0, so you do it again, right? And this goes here, and we add a 0 here, so this 0 goes away. And now you have 2, 4, 8. So 12 plus 2, which gives you 14, which is what we were seeing, which is why I was like, why are we getting 14? That's weird, because 3 times 4, you know, multiplying any of those numbers together, 0, 1, 2, or 3, you weren't going to get 14. So that didn't seem right. And then I realized that we weren't clearing the carry. So be sure to clear this in order to get a proper multiplication. We'll just kind of add that to this here, and all right, so what's next? So what I want to do, I'm not going to do it in this stream. I think we're good for tonight, just because, like I said, I'm not feeling great with my allergies and everything. What I think I want to do for next stream is I want to get some real art in here. I want to make it so the asset tool, you can actually scroll and look at the map in here, because right now we have to use tiled to look at this, because while it's loading the map properly, it's obviously drawing it off this image, and it's not viewable as a result of that. And then we need to start figuring out how we're going to place enemies on here. And yeah, real graphics would be nice. Probably want to get the palettes loaded properly, because right now we're just using placeholder palettes, and that's mostly because I was purposely avoiding that, because like we've talked about in the past, there are only so many palettes that you can have loaded, and you control the palette that you use for these tiles by using the last How many bytes is it? I don't remember. I can do the math, but I don't remember how many it is. The last 64 bytes of memory set the set information about the meta tiles, like the palettes that they're using. So if we were to, can we go mess with that? I guess we could probably sort of proof of concept it. So if we go to PPU memory, although I don't know, so I don't know where it is in the PPU memory, do I? I guess I do. It would be at, so this is name table 1. We are, let's see here. Yeah, so we're right over here. So this is name table 1, which starts at address 2000. So 2000 plus 960. Well, that's 2000 hex. 960 is 23C0. So 23C0 is where the attribute bytes start. So right here, and you can see they're zeroed out. Let's take a look at those. Curious to see if we'll be able to just kind of mess with this and change some of the palette information just for kicks, just to prove that we can. I don't remember what the attributes look like. So color bits. It's going to be one of 4 palettes. So let's just change everything to the same palette and see how that goes. So if we change this to, and then you can see it did change that up here. And I'm going to close this, we don't need to see that. And which palette is that? That should be this palette here, because it's got the orange. So this is, I guess, palette 4. And then let's see, if we wanted to make it palette 3 for everything, it would be 1010 1010, which is AA. Bring it up. Okay, so that seems to have changed it. I mean, it's different. Yeah, it's different than the other one. So is this palette 3? Trying to understand the organization of this. This looks like that would be the case. And then if we do, let's see, that would be 01, 01, 0101. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Oh, that's actually going to be 55, right? If we unpause, oops, unpause this for a second. Which one did it change it to? Did it change it to this one? So it's 4, 3, 2, and then this would be 1. So that would be, instead of, it would be just, oh, that would be 0. But then, four, 3, 2, 1, maybe like that. Trying to understand how it's organizing this. Something like that. All right, so that, I mean, at this point, what we would need to do, like I said, is start first of all, loading the palette information. We have the palette information properly formatted to load into memory. It's just right now we're not doing that, and we're also not setting these attributes. So that would be the next thing. And then that gets into all of the stuff where you have to manage what palettes you have loaded at what time, and we'll have to look at how we want to handle that, if that's something we want to simply detect and warn about, or just simply leave it to, you know, will it play correctly when we go look at it in the NES. I'm not sure. I think I probably would prefer to actually warn about it, because we'd want to know ahead of time, and then we can go back and change our assets to use the same palette, or some, you know, reduce the number of palettes we're using, because obviously we don't want to have a problem with that. I think we're, let's see, am I actually loading a palette here? I thought I was. Maybe not anymore. At one point I was loading one of the palettes we exported from one of the, it's from that character that I had created or imported, this sprite guy. Was it just a manual file I created? I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look maybe. I think this was the file that had the palette data. Let's see, how big is this? Oh, it's 4 bytes. Yeah, this is definitely it, because it's only 4 bytes. So if we rebuild that and reload that in, we should see the palette got changed. Yeah, so that palette is now, well, that'll actually help us determine if I was right about the order of the palettes. So FF. So that's the last palette. AA. What did that change? Anything? Oh, it did. It changed this to that. So it's this palette, maybe? That seems more likely, because this has way more white in it. And then it was 5.5. And then 0.0. Doesn't seem to be changing the way I expected it to. That's the orange. And then if we make it 1 0 1 0 1 0, oops, 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0, that's just AA. So yeah, and then the next thing we would do is just go, we just shift it to the right one, and that's 5.5. Yeah, so I did that right before. I wonder why the colors aren't changing the way I expected them to. Anyway, I'm just wasting time now. So, like I said, that'll be for the next stream. We'll get the palettes loaded properly and the map data scrolling properly in the asset tool, that kind of stuff. I'm going to start trying to look at getting some real graphics in here so that we can have something that looks halfway decent instead of these placeholders. And yeah, we're in good shape. That actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be to figure out. I was convinced I was going to be here for 2.5 hours trying to make that work. Well, as always, thanks for watching. I will post this on YouTube as soon as I'm done. And I'll see you next time. You can find me on Twitter at Clearvis. I'm on the Nintendo Age Discord. You can comment on the video on YouTube. And hopefully, like I said, that video that I'm putting together will be done soon. I will be sure to post about that on Twitter too. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.